At Real Food Traveler, we always encourage people to experience the really local cuisine when they visit a destination. Timing your visit for when that destination might have a restaurant week is a great way to experience a wide variety of restaurants who are showing off some of the best of what they, the city, and region offer. I'm Courtney Drake McDonough, the publisher and managing editor of RealFoodTraveler.com and host of the Real Food Traveler podcast. My guests today represent the restaurant scene in Galveston, Texas. So let's join them and learn more about Galveston's culinary scene and their restaurant weeks. I'm going to turn it over to you, Jan and James, and let you introduce yourselves.
All right, my name is James Clark. I am the Director of Operations for Mosquito Cafe and Patty Cakes Bakery and Catering Services. I'm also the past chair of the Galveston chapter of the Texas Restaurant Association, amongst numerous other culinary-based advisory committees here on the island, helping contribute in any way possible to our culinary scene here.
Okay, and Jan?
I am Jan Collier. I work with Vargas Post Office Group, which includes Rudy and Paco's restaurant and Vargas Cut and Catch. I am the incoming chair for the Galveston chapter of the Texas Restaurant Association and also sit on a couple of other committees for the city as well as culinary.
Wonderful. Thank you. I am, as we speak today, I am about a week away from coming to visit Galveston. I've been before a few times, but it's been several years and I really didn't get to take in the culinary scene. So I'm really excited to personally learn more about everything there and your restaurant weeks, but also to share that with our readers and listeners. So let's start with when Galveston Restaurant Weeks are for 2025. And if people can't be there this year, typically when does the program run?
So this year it's going to be January 6th through February 2nd. So really it's not a week. That's why we call it weeks, because it encompasses at least 3 to 4, and it's usually dependent upon when Mardi Gras season starts. And it typically is always going to be restaurant week, will always be in January. And then, like I said, it is determined the length of it and or the duration when it's going to stop whenever we start the festivities on the island for Mardi Gras, because we don't want it to overstep or overshadow our Mardi Gras festivities here on the island.
Okay, all right. A lot of cities have restaurant weeks. Can you explain how yours works?
Jan, you want to take this one?
Well, we dedicate the proceeds to local charity organizations. And so we think that that helps give it a boost because we're helping to highlight the restaurants, but we're also helping the community as well. So this year we're doing the Galveston County Food Bank and St. Vincent House. And it really kind of gets the community involved as well. It's something that people look forward to every year and ask us when it's going to be again.
Okay.
And just to add to that, the focus of our charities is always going to be on feeding, supporting, and the health and wellness of our children and families in our community. So it's always going to be driven towards those types of charitable organizations that we are wanting to help out and reach and support.
And typically, are the menus that the restaurants are coming up with for restaurant weeks taken from menu items they already have, or do they come up with completely new options for restaurant weeks?
So the answer to that is yes and no.
Yeah, exactly.
Some folks like to build nice packages out of the current in-house items they already have. And then some other establishments really like to let their chefs shine and show some kind of other item that they wouldn't typically use or have. And what I've experienced in the years past is sometimes when that happens, there becomes such a great following or excitement about that dish that they actually keep it around and or make it one of their permanent menu items.
Interesting. Yeah, and if it was a huge success with people, yeah, that's a great way for them to test things.
We usually let them decide if they want to, do a menu item or create something special. And like James said, I mean, some of the restaurants really think outside the box and come up with some outstanding ideas that they implement into their menu after that.
Mm-hmm. Like I said in my intro, we always encourage people to experience the local cuisine when they go to a destination. So, in the case of Galveston, what food and drink items, ingredients, and preparations would you say would be considered really local that our listeners should look out for?
I mean, I feel like it's needless to say that we are Galveston Island. We're basically a tropical island 2 miles off the coast of Texas. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say we need to boast and advertise and promote eating fresh seafood. We have so many wonderful um, fisheries and fish markets here on the island that support and supply all the fresh seafood to our restaurants. And it really is kind of that concept of, well, and a lot of people say from farm to table. Well, we say from sea to table, and that's definitely is what we focus here on the island. And Pa Rudy and Paco's and Vargas Cuncatcher are an excellent example of that. They're definitely one of the more well-known establishments here on the island for providing a really fine dining experience, boasting those fresh seafood and local ingredients.
Within this, the seafood, are there certain preparations that are iconic to Galveston? Like blackened or fried or whatever?
Well, being as that we're in the South, I definitely think fried is the prevalent one.
Uh-huh.
Jen, what would you say?
Absolutely, yes. Everybody does love the fried. We do a lot of sautéed as well. And as James had mentioned, we're fortunate to be right on the Gulf, and a lot of our seafood comes directly from one of the fish markets that is like 3 blocks away from us. So you really can't get any fresher than coming right off the boat through the fish market to the establishments. It's not just us that utilizes so many of the locals. But I mean, you can't get any fresher than coming straight off the boat like that.
Hmm. And are there specific kinds of seafood that you're particularly proud of or known for?
No, we use a lot of the fresh snapper that comes off. A lot of our shrimp comes directly from there. It really depends on, what is in season. And if they are able to get something fresh, then that is what we feature in our locales as well as, many of the other restaurants follow the same lead.
Yeah, just to add to that, I would say it was going to be redfish, trout, snapper, oysters, shrimp. I mean, really, it's just a wide variety of fish, but it's all like Jane was saying, those are the primary ones that are in and around our area, and most of them are available most of the season or most of the year, excuse me, but some of them are seasonally available.
Hmm. Is there a certain drink that you can't leave Galveston without having had?
Well, legend has it the margarita was invented
You're
in
correct.
Galveston.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't come to Galveston and not have a margarita, at least at a few of the different establishments here along the seawall, downtown, on the Bayside. I mean, there's a lot of great options to try that out.
I take it that claim to fame is a little iffy, or is it solid
Uh,
that the margarita
it's
was invented there?
It's pretty solid. It was supposedly invented by a gentleman named Santos who owned a couple of bars here. He worked at the Balinese Room. And James, correct, he invented it for Brenda Lee. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a cool story.
And that's one of the unique things about us too. Sorry to overstep there, but that's one of the unique things about Galveston is the vast array of history that's incorporated and still alive here on the island and proudly shared with our guests, with our own community members and everything else. So there's a lot of great stories and a lot of wonderful books that have been written about all the different culinary historical things here on the island.
Hmm.
We also have our own brewery, Galveston Brewery Company, which does a variety of different beers and such. And the majority of our restaurants also carry those. So, we've got cocktails, we have our own brewery here on the island. So there's a vast array of things to choose from.
Okay, cool. What about planning ahead to go partake in the restaurant weeks, how far in advance should visitors and even locals make reservations? And is there such a thing as being able to just drop in?
So I think it's going to be dependent upon the establishment, but like for instance, at Jan's establishments, definitely recommendation is to get a reservation in order to make sure you have your seating and you're going to be in there this time that you would want to be in. I don't recommend just dropping in. They do their best to accommodate at that time. Um, but it's like I said, it's dependent on the establishment. Like our cafe is a little bit less formal and it is more of a walk-in type of atmosphere. So I would say that there is the option for both, and maybe try to look up the establishment on their website and see what the recommendation is for that type of dining, and then kind of go with it from there. But as far as planning in advance, honestly, just look for the menu drops on the GalvestonRestaurantWeek.com website, and then kind of pick and choose build a plan, pick and choose the places and things that look the most appetizing or most interesting to you that you want to try, and kind of build a plan of when you're going to go, and maybe grab a couple of friends to join you, and build out a strategy. That's what a lot of the locals have told me when they're out looking for restaurant week, is they're like, oh, well, we're going to go to Katie's Seafood this day, and then we're going to go to Paco's the next day for lunch or dinner, and then we're going to go um, to Mario's on Seawall for a pizza, or they just plan it out, and it makes it where it's a really kind of fun gathering time.
And to clarify, are they multiple courses and multiple price points, or how does it work specifically?
Yes, the answer is yes. So there's a range that the restaurants are given to that they need to stick with for the prefix menu, and there could be multiple courses or one course with a drink. It really varies, but really it's the price point that it really needs to stay within. And the price points fluctuate between mealtime. There's a certain price point for the breakfast, certain price point for lunch, and a certain price point for dinner as well.
That's great that you do breakfast through dinner too, because it just opens up all the options for you.
Yes, and just to kind of touch back on that, just to give specifics, dinners will typically be a 2 or 3 course dinner, priced between $20 to $60. Lunches are a 2 course lunch, which will be priced between $10 and $30. And breakfast slash brunch will be priced typically between $10 and $40.
All right, great. Where should people go to get more information about this year's events and future restaurant weeks?
The best location is going to be GalvestonRestaurantWeek.com, which links into our partner Galveston.com. And then also another great source is through visitgalveston.com.
Easy enough. Are you on social media as well?
We are, but we rely mostly on our partner who promotes and pushes the whole event itself, which is Galveston.com. So we do have a Facebook on it, but it's not as active or accurate as following GalvestonRestaurantWeek.com, and following all the information on there.
Okay, great.
He updates all of the menus, all of the participating restaurants, the locations, the hours. So, like James had stated earlier, that's an excellent locale to go to try and decide where you want to go, because you're able to see all of the menus firsthand in live time. As I had before you joined, I was telling her we've got Galveston. Restaurant group is going to participate as well, and so is Katie Seafood. I talked to both of them, so we'll send that information to Lee at Galveston.com, and he'll update all of that, so you have real time information of the participating restaurants.
So, in other words, check back often.
Yes, and then Visit Galveston also, as a Convention and Visitors Bureau, they will openly market and advocate all the different restaurants, and they kind of highlight certain restaurants, and they try to touch every participant in helping market it. So they're really a wonderful supporter of the event as well, and also the Galveston Daily News. They go above and beyond trying to help us promote it as well. But to answer your question, primarily it all funnels back to Galveston.com, which is the host of GalvestonRestaurantWeek.com.
Okay. Beyond the restaurants that you two represent, what are some that you personally like to go to? Bonus points if there's something specific that you order that we can share with our listeners.
Jan, you get to start that one.
Well, actually, and not just because you're on this call, but Mosquito Cafe is always good. They have a diverse menu. The staff is absolutely wonderful. Willie G's is always a favorite of mine to attend during Restaurant Week because they always offer some really great selections. There's and also another one called Huli Hut, which I think has the best crawfish, boudin, Brussels sprouts type of array for crawfish. So that's some of my favorites.
Hmm. Okay. James, how about you?
Some of my favorites are going to be Katie's Seafood, just because I really do enjoy the really fresh seafood. My kids love to go and get their fish sticks. I like to try something new almost every time I go, so I feel like it's always a new experience for me. Um, and along the same lines too, I really love going to Boulevard Seafood. Um, the team that represents Yaga's Entertainment and all together, because they have numerous locations, really just do a fantastic job of providing a really great experience and really incredible food. Trying to think, the other place that just is an experience that everyone has to have, in my opinion, is going in and catching a burger at the spot. And a burger and a cocktail at the spot, so they're looking out over the water on the beach. That I feel like is just one of the go-to places you got to check out as well. Not only just for Restaurant Week, but for any visit to
Mm-hmm.
Galveston.
I'm glad you mentioned the spot because the two other times I've been to Galveston, that's the one place we went both times because it was so good and we had a burger and I hope they still have it, the chocolate pecan pie.
Oh yeah.
Oh, good, good. Glad to hear that. Yeah, so that's definitely going to have to be a stop for us when we come. So now I'm going to tap into the fact that you two are locals. And if you have visitors coming to town, what are some things you make sure they have to see and do?
I'm gonna say I go on the typical tourist route. I make sure that they visit at least one of our historic mansions and take a tour because we have one of the largest historic districts in the nation here on the island. And the Historical Foundation does a wonderful job of preserving and keeping those intact for us. Then I would say they also need to go and take a tour on the Duck, which is an amphibious vehicle that tells a great history of the island and then also goes out into the bay and takes a tour of the water, which to me always is a different and unique perspective of the island. And then I would say also go over to the Katy Seafood Market, seeing the fish come in from the fishermen on the boats and how they handle it, and then they just, I mean, it's just straight out there ready to go to purchase, and it's such a cool, unique experience.
Do you have to do that in the morning?
The mornings typically is when you'll see it come in, but honestly, the fish market is active almost all
Mm-hmm.
day long.
Okay.
Jen,
Okay.
what would you add?
I'd say definitely Moody Gardens as well. They have a
Yes,
lot of
thank you.
educational stuff. Yeah, Moody Gardens is a good one to visit. The Tall Ship Alyssa for the historical significance of that, and then one that's kind of off the beaten path. But if you're into this kind of thing, you enjoy it. We've also got an oil rig that used to be a working oil rig, so those are always good. The trolleys are good to give you a different view of the island as well. And you can catch those in various locations, and it's very, very inexpensive for that.
Hmm, okay, good. Is that kind of a hop on, hop off
Mm-hmm.
kind
Yes,
of thing,
ma'am.
the trolleys? Yeah, I like doing those. I like taking the full route first, staying on just to kind of get the lay of the land, and then decide where I want to hop off and hop back on again.
It, it kind
Definitely.
of makes you think like when you're in New Orleans and you take, a lot of times you're not going to a specific destination in New Orleans. You're taking that trolley just to be able to visit the different areas in town. And so the trolley also helps you to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And one of the other fun things to do is to book a dolphin watching tour, which you can go two different routes on that. You can take the ferry over to Bolivar and catch the dolphins on there, or you can book a private trip with the was it Baywatch Dolphin Tours, and they'll take you out and show you the major activity of dolphins in through the ship channel in between Pelican Island and Galveston Island. So I mean, there's so many different experiences that people can have here on the island. It's really incredible, and it's not something that you can do just in a weekend. I feel like it really takes at least 4, maybe more days to really get a good taste of everything that Galveston has to offer.
You know what we forgot to mention? The
What?
beach.
Ah, that's overrated.
Really?
I feel, I mean, the beach is just so obvious. I feel like so many people are stuck on the beach that we got to share all the other wonderful things we have. You know, we have such a great downtown Strand shopping center, a shopping area that, you know, a lot of times folks kind of miss that because they're so just hung up on the beach. So that the beach always is kind of in the back of my mind, and I'm always trying to advocate all the other things to go and see on the island.
Well, for people like me who live in landlocked Colorado, I will at least visit the beach, but make sure I see all those other things too. And of course, I'd be remiss
Fair
if I
enough.
didn't mention Galveston is a major cruise ship port. In fact, that's one of the reasons that we're coming in. We're coming in early to visit Galveston, but then we're going on a cruise. I do suggest people build in extra time on either end of your cruise to really explore Galveston, but that does make it very easy, a lovely place to visit before or after going on a cruise ship.
100%. And, you know, that's something that we all as a community have been working really hard on is building these relationships with the different cruise lines and advocating that, you know, saying, can you invite your guests or at least email them the options of things that they can see or do on the island. So that way are more inclined to come early or stay a little bit later. I mean, honestly, when most people get off the cruise ship, they just want to go home, but we want them to stay and play a little bit longer, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So lastly, where can people go to learn about the restaurants you represent in particular?
For myself, it's mosquitocafe.com and then also pattycakesgalveston.com.
Okay.
And ours is rudyandpaco.com and vargascutandcatch.com.
Well, obviously you have a very cooperative relationship among all of your restaurants. I know there naturally has to be some competition, but I love hearing that you're also supportive of each other. And it's a small community, and so you kind of have to be. But that's very nice that you all work together and support each other and frequent each other's businesses. That says a lot for those of us visiting.
Well, thank you. And that's something that we, and Jan and I, have worked really hard on being leaders in the Galveston chapter of the Texas Restaurant Association is building that sense of community amongst businesses because we have over 8 million visitors annually that come to Galveston. So there's no reason that we all can't be successful together. There shouldn't be any reason to cut each other down, but to raise each other up and support each other, I think is really the best path for all of us.
That's lovely. That's wonderful.
It makes everybody successful. James said it beautifully. It is. It's. We kind of laugh a little bit about the island. They say, you know, if you sneeze on the east end, they say bless you on the west end because it's a wonderful community to be involved with.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm very excited to come this week and spend a little more time than I usually get to. And I'm happy to have this opportunity to encourage our Real Food Traveler podcast listeners to go. But we always, with our podcasts, have an accompanying article on realfoodtraveler.com. And that's where we'll have pictures of the two of you so that people can see who we've been talking to. And we'll get some food photos up there as well and links to everything that you've talked about today. And there'll always be a little player on there so you could actually listen to the podcast while you're reading the article and seeing these photos. So we will be doing that for both our readers and our listeners. And I thank you both again for getting together during this busy time of your restaurant weeks to meet with me. And I encourage everybody to make plans to go if you can, because they run a good long time now. So people could still go to 2025 or schedule ahead for 2026. And all throughout the year, it sounds like there are wonderful restaurant options to have and plenty to do in Galveston.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, and we're looking forward to seeing you later this week or next week. I think it is you're coming.
Yeah,
So,
Absolutely.
for sure. The Real Food Traveler podcast is available on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon, Overcast, and pretty much anywhere you like to listen to podcasts. And of course, we are on the realfoodtraveler.com site with all of our podcasts. So thank you both, and I look forward to meeting you next week. Take care.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you.